Jackie's here, changing life loving you. Yeah, that's the groove, life loving you. Feel the truth, move, life loving you. It's all we do, come on through, it's just for you.
Go ahead, Doc.
So I think that what people mean when they say that we have a connection, I just keep hearing that word all the time. What I think it means is that there's depth that they can latch on to in that person. And they can feel that that person is able to latch on the depth, depth that's in them. So they kind of let go and feel comfortable in their unedited format.
Oh, that's good.
Being touched and seen and experienced. Because of the social media advent, I think most people are not there's not a lot of depth. We play the game. But when people have a connection, and I think all too often they're talking about a sexual chemistry, which is not
the same thing.
No. Connection is, I feel seen by you. I feel like you're trying to get in there and connect to who I really am. That's connection. Connection makes you feel like you're home. It makes you feel comfortable. It makes you feel like you can be. No stress. There's a real peaceful atmosphere and vibe that you feel in yourself while you're coexisting around that other individual. And that's something that doesn't happen with a lot of people. But what I can say is the more developed, self-developed you are, you can create it. So whereas people are saying, oh, there's a connection, that connection doesn't mean that it's good. It's just great that that person is connecting to you. But you have to vet and make sure that what that person is also good for you. But when you're self-actualized and you are highly developed, you create the atmosphere. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but it happens to me sometimes. I'll get a person that's very closed. It's very hard to figure out who they are and what's their thing. I like that because I like to talk to the person. I'll keep being around them, vibing. And then what happens is they start to open up. They start to uncloak. Then there's what? A connection. So I'm able to see them. They allow me to see them. Then I can connect with the parts that I think are good. But because I'm self-actualized, I also know what parts I want to connect with and the parts that I don't want to connect with.
In relationships, do you think when people start to uncloak, when we start to see them for who they are, how do we, like you said, how do you change keep what you want and transform what it's not?
You connect to what you want. So I've had so many people come out to me or so many people they'll just tell me all kinds of stuff. I'm hopeful that it's because I'm not judgmental. I want to know who you really are, and I want you to feel safe being you in front of me. Who am I to judge? The journey is how they became that person that they are, and there's a lot of stories behind that. I have my own stories of how I became who I am. So the judgment piece is not even an initiative. It's not even involved in the equation. It's just about getting to know who they are and making them feel like who they are is accepted. When that happens, people are able to make different connections because they feel safe and they feel good. But as I keep saying, you have to be responsible enough to know, okay, they're letting me see this part. This part is good. This part is not anything I think is good for me, or I'm not interested in that part of them. Or I don't agree with that part of them for my life. So an example might be, there might be things that you're really into that's really a part of who you really are. But I don't like those things. I'm not willing to tread into those things. It could be something as simple as somebody's very dark. They like dark music, they like dark, movies.
Horror movies and stuff.
Yeah, they're into all of that. So if you're gonna be spending time with them, guess what?
You're going to have to consume something.
There you go. So whether it's even the type of entertainment all around that they like, the type of places that they want to go, probably not gonna vibe with me. So, but I can connect with you and you can be what? An acquaintance. But really a deep friendship, I can't really invest in that with you because there's not enough compatibility.
Ability. So I would say, based off of compatibility, how do you go from, okay, because I think a lot of people have a lot of friends, but they're really acquaintances, or someone might be trying to make a friend or.
Go ahead.
That's what I want you to touch on. You talk about connection, and that's what we're using now in our our day-to-day or whatever. People are confusing connection with compatibility. You can connect with anybody, doesn't mean you're compatible.
Yeah.
Can you talk
I love that.
more about that?
I love making this really clear distinction. Some people think that because you connect with someone, that means that you're compatible. Connection is really a skill. It's really about your constitution. So many people connect with me because of my makeup. I'm not talking about what I rubbed on my face. I'm talking about the way that I carry myself, the way that I am, the way that I interact with people. I'm pretty open. I'm emotionally open. I'm pretty open. So people are easily able to form a connection with me. Doesn't mean that we're compatible though. Connection and compatibility are not in the same Venn diagram. So I can connect because I just have that ability to do that. You know, you ever met somebody you feel so comfortable talking to them, you can talk about anything with them. That's connection. That's connection. Now, what they might be a criminal and a serial killer. No compatibility.
How do people, so connection is a skill.
It really is a skill and a constitution.
Okay.
It's a way of being. When you're very open, emotionally clear, you're very easy to connect with. In the same keeping, if I'm very closed, it's going to be very difficult for me to connect with a lot of people. You've met people that are emotionally closed. You meet them and you're like, oh, I can't really get that guy. I can't really figure him out. They're closed.
True. And so what do you say when it comes to compatibility? How do you evaluate compatibility? Because I feel like that's a skill as well, is it not? So how does one evaluate compatibility and then understand, okay, we're connected, but we're not compatible? Because I think a lot of people, especially now because of intimacy has gone all over the place, they might say, oh, I'm connected to this person, but that person really isn't compatible with you, but you're trying to force either a relationship, romance, something. How do you deal with that?
I got it. So look, when you connect with somebody, you have to make the determination. Think about the sun. This is you. And then you have all of these different orbits. Closest to you, further away from you, the furthest away from you. So based on the measure of compatibility, the person occupies an orbit in your world. If they're compatible, they're going to be close in orbit to me. We're connected. There is a connection. But now when there's a lack of compatibility, there's very little that we have in common that's going to make our coexistence very good. This is what gets couples in trouble. They feel that there's a connection. They might even have chemistry. And then they try to get into a romantic relationship together. But there's really no real compatibility. You're going right, they're going left. You value up, they value down. Where is it that we coexist together and we can really live out a life together? Not enough compatibility. So the metric is not on, are we connected? Connection is a part of it. It's a very small part. The greater part is, are we compatible? Now, if you're just wanting someone that you feel good hanging out with, this is somebody that's on an outer orbit from your sun. So that's somebody you can just go, maybe have dinner with when you just want to have somebody to converse with. You talk to them over the phone. But a lot of interaction probably wouldn't be that helpful for you because just not a lot of compatibility. So I would say even the frequency that you interact with that individual might be different than someone that's on an inner orbit next to your sun.
That's really, really good.
What do you think about that? Does that analogy kind of give you an understanding of what it looks like?
Yeah, because I think, like you said, connectivity, we said connection, and then the orbits. There's somebody who's connected, but their compatibility, they're like Pluto. We connect, but then we connect, but if you're someone's is compatible and connective, that means they're close to you and they can actually be around you.
There's a lot of people that I have a connection with, and I talk to them, and I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to them. I might grab a coffee with them and whatnot, but now doing more intimate activities, like spending the day together, going places where we're going to be around each other for hours and hours on end over extended periods, no, because we're really not compatible to do that. My idea of even going on a vacation with them, why would I do that? Because I'm going to want to go do this, they're going to want to go do that. Our value system is different. Our morals, where I want to see myself, might be different than where they want to see themselves. Or they might say that they want to see themselves in the same direction that I'm going, but they're not taking the steps to get there.
That's good. So
I'm not going to listen to what you say. I am not the girl for what you say. I'm the girl for what you do. So I hear all kind of talk. There's a lot of people that hope and wish for all these grand things in their life. What are you building? Where is your fruit? That's what I'm looking at. And so you can tell me, oh yeah, in 5 years I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna start my business, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna build this out. Then I watch what you do. If all you've been doing is watching TV, you're on your regular 9-to-5 job, you don't come home and work your grind on what you say that you're gonna be building out, I know that you're not there yet. It's a wish, it's a hope. If you say to me, you know, you're diligent and you do this and you do that, and I don't see it in action, then I know that that's, again, you're speaking of your potential. But potential is just that. It's power unrealized.
That's
Potential.
Potential. There's a lot of ways we can go with this. One thing that came to mind when we talked about connections and sometimes the root of why people connect, right? Some people can connect over good things, but then there's a common thing that we know, especially now, trauma bonding. They're connecting over things that aren't healthy. How do you evaluate how good your connection really is?
That's a really good question. And I was just pondering something regarding trauma today. Do you know that vets from the war that have PTSD, they always bond with their therapists when they feel like their therapist is a part of them. So even though the therapist might not have ever even been in the forces, military forces, never went to war, they will induct them, maybe give them a cap or give them something. You're part of our brigade, whatever. They bond that way, and it allows them to open up. So here's the thing. I'm going a long way to answer that question. So if you bond because of trauma, then you have to understand some very important facts. Hurt people, hurting people, hurt people, or hurt people, whichever way you want to say it. Number two, the blind really shouldn't be leading the blind. So a trauma partner should be someone that you bond with and you're on a journey together. Individual journeys, but you're journeying at the same time to wholeness. Those are going to be very, very important relationships. They're impactful. They will help you. But now if you're trying to turn that relationship into something other, you need to be careful. Are you trying to turn that relationship into a romantic relationship? So they're a trauma partner. You already know that they got a lot of triggers and a lot of stuff that they're trying to work through. You have some. Now you're going to put, what is it? What do they call dynamite?
Dynamite and fire and gunpowder?
I mean, you're putting both of those things like together, it becomes a little bit more difficult. And you can't live a life on what happened in the past. Do you understand? Your whole context of your relationship is based on your past. And you're trying to pull up these anchors so you can live forward, right? Move forward. So I would just say, whatever you're thinking of to emerge from a trauma-bonded relationship, it could be a business relationship, it could be a romantic relationship, you need to keep those facts in mind and figure out what is the most effective way for you to engage in that relationship. I would suppose that probably the greatest benefit is going to be for you to leave it as a trauma bond and then work through your traumas on your individual journeys together. What do we find? When someone has someone that understands what they went through and they're able to talk it out, They stop having the flashbacks. They're able to start to build trust. They begin to open up. They start being able to sleep well. They're able to overcome and manage their trauma. But let's make the distinction between the psychological term trauma bonding, which is Stockholm syndrome, which is where you bond with the person that victimized you. But you know, in popular culture, trauma bonding is around somebody you connect with because they went through trauma, you experienced trauma, and you forged this sort of bond together as a result. Even people that trauma bond, say we were kidnapped and we were together. In popular culture, that's what they call, because we both went through even that same event together, we're bonded together for life because we didn't know if we were gonna live today or tomorrow, and we went through that together. So we have a shared experience that transcends time. Now, that type of trauma bonding is a little bit more effective for me as it relates to your ability to have a romantic relationship. It might not interfere with your ability to have, you know, a romantic relationship. The way if you were you got PTSD and I got PTSD and we're trying to get together, but it wasn't a shared experience. That's just my personal opinion about that.
All right, Doc, you have any closing thoughts to the people?
I think that the closing thought that I would share is this: know what you're dealing with. I think you're much more effective when you understand what your complex issues or problems are, identifying them, knowing what they are in plain sight. Then you are able to figure out what you got to do to address them properly. So that man in the mirror syndrome, that ability to look at him and analyze him, is everything.
All right. Well, until next time.
Until next time. Hey, Dr. Jacquie here. I'm your how-to lady. How to do life, how to do love, and how to do you, boo. So click, like, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more to come.